Hey, welcome to Fascinating Frontiers, episode 56. It's April 22nd, 2026. Here's what's happening in space and science today. NASA's Nancy Grace Roman Space Telescope has completed final assembly and is on track for September launch. SpaceX has taken an option to acquire the AI coding company Cursor for $60 billion ahead of Cursor's planned initial public offering. This deal really stands out because it shows just how seriously SpaceX is betting on artificial intelligence to transform how future spacecraft get designed. The technology is expected to reshape everything from detailed simulations of rocket performance to the autonomous flight systems that will operate with minimal human input. It is a clear signal of the deepening convergence between the latest AI tools and the hardware that will explore beyond Earth. I find it fascinating how software decisions made today could fundamentally change the spacecraft we fly tomorrow. While one company bets big on the software that will design tomorrow's rockets, another just took a painful financial hit on the hardware flying today. Northrop Grumman recorded a $71 million charge in its first quarter results after an anomaly with one of its solid rocket boosters. The problem has grounded United Launch Alliance's Vulcan rocket for the time being. That means several upcoming national security launches and important science missions are now delayed. Teams are focused on clearing the entire booster family so flights can safely resume. These kinds of anomalies remind us how incredibly complex these machines remain even after decades of development. Setbacks like that remind us how complex these machines are, but other parts of NASA are hitting major milestones right on schedule. NASA's Nancy Grace Roman Space Telescope has finished integration and testing and is scheduled to launch in September. Once in orbit, it will conduct wide-field infrared surveys that can map billions of galaxies. The telescope will also hunt for exoplanets using the technique of microlensing. What makes Roman special is its 2.4-meter mirror, the same size as Hubble's but paired with brand-new wide-field detectors. Those detectors let it image 100 times more sky in a single shot compared to its predecessors. Engineers still have to carefully fold those delicate instruments into the launch fairing like a final origami act before the rocket fires. I cannot wait to see what hidden populations of worlds or clues about dark matter this new eye will reveal in its first year of operation. Roman is going to give us an incredible new view of the universe, and new research is already changing how we think about where life might be able to form around other stars. Low-mass K-type and M-type stars produce intense ultraviolet flares that can dramatically alter the chemistry of nearby exoplanet atmospheres. If you shrunk our sun to the size of a grapefruit, an average red dwarf would be like a grape sitting just across the street. Yet its flares can outshine the star itself by factors of hundreds in ultraviolet light. Imagine a small rocky planet inside that star's traditional liquid water zone. Every few days, a sudden magnetic reconnection unleashes a torrent of energetic particles and ultraviolet photons that could strip an atmosphere in geological instants. These outbursts also drive complex photochemistry, splitting water molecules and creating oxygen and ozone, even in places that would otherwise stay frozen. Researchers are now developing the idea of a UV habitable zone that could be larger than the traditional liquid water zone. Some models show the repeated flare energy could push the outer edge of this zone outward by tens of % around these long-lived stars that burn for trillions of years. We are already watching this happen on Proxima Centauri and TRAPPIST-1 with current telescopes. You know what is really fascinating about this? The genuine mystery is whether life could evolve fast enough to survive the sterilizing bursts, or whether it might learn to hide beneath protective ice or rock while the surface chemistry cooks. Speaking of getting a closer look at alien worlds, one of our rovers just pulled up to the edge of a fresh impact crater on Mars. The Curiosity rover has arrived precisely at the rim of the fresh 10-meter Antofagasta crater inside Gale Crater. It has begun studying the sandfill inside the crater. At the same time, the rover is scouting its next drill target higher up Mount Sharp. This latest drive gives scientists a rare close-up view of very recent geologic activity on Mars. It is exciting to think how a decade-old rover can still deliver such precise and useful data about fresh features. While Curiosity keeps driving across Mars, NASA is busy strengthening partnerships back here on Earth. NASA will host an international signing ceremony in Jordan for the latest country to join the Artemis Accords. That country is Jordan. The agreement expands the coalition of nations committed to peaceful and transparent exploration of the moon and beyond. It is genuinely encouraging to see more countries formally align on these principles. Expanding the circle of nations working together in space also means spreading the work across many communities. Companies in Tullahoma, Tennessee, and NASA's Stennis Space Center supplied and tested critical systems for the recent crewed Orion flight. Their contributions were essential to the Artemis II mission. This highlights how the Artemis program distributes technical expertise and economic benefit across dozens of communities. It is always nice to see how space exploration creates real opportunities far from the launch pads. It is not just professionals pushing space forward, backyard observers and citizen scientists continue to amaze us too. Amateur astrophotographers using everything from iPhones to Nikon DSLRs and Sony mirrorless cameras have shared sharp images of the moon, star fields, and galaxies M81, M82, and M101. These pictures demonstrate how accessible equipment combined with careful processing can still reveal real celestial beauty. It is inspiring that hobbyists can produce images that feel almost professional. That same spirit of curiosity is also driving some very big science projects. University of Virginia professor Satya Goncho, Goncho is part of the DESI team, building the largest three-dimensional map of the universe. The survey uses observations of 46 million galaxies and quasars plus 19 million stars. This enormous dataset aims to reveal how dark energy has driven cosmic expansion over billions of years. It is incredible to think about the scale of data involved and what it might tell us about the universe's hidden forces. From the very large scale of the universe down to our own backyard. Families using a 102mm refractor enjoyed clear views of Jupiter's cloud bands, Venus, and the lunar terminator in early evening. The simple setup on a pier-mounted mount shows how quickly the solar system becomes accessible even to young viewers. It is wonderful to picture kids getting their first real look at Jupiter's stripes through a modest telescope. Moments like that are often what spark a lifelong interest in astronomy. Before we go, keep an eye on how the Roman telescope's upcoming launch and the DESI mapping results might reshape our understanding of both exoplanets and cosmic expansion in the coming months. That's Fascinating Frontiers for today. If you enjoyed this, a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify really helps new listeners find the show. I'm Patrick in Vancouver. Thanks for exploring with me, and I'll see you next time. This podcast is curated by Patrick, but generated using AI voice synthesis of my voice using ElevenLabs. The primary reason to do this is I unfortunately don't have the time to be consistent with generating all the content and wanted to focus on creating consistent and regular episodes for all the themes that I enjoy, and I hope others do as well.
Drifting softly through the black, a million stars behind our back. The void hums low.